Kudala ndizulazula ndicinga lona uthando lwangempela. I've been searching up and down into deep waters of swim, searching for the only one, the one that...
And then your first main question, politics and the role of journalism. In Africa, I'm not going to just speak on Zim. In Africa in general, we need more young people in politics, number one. Number two, we need people who are getting into politics for the right reasons. That's our biggest downfall. People get into politics for fame, they get into politics for money and stability, and not for the right reasons. You know, me being a Christian, when I think of politics, I'm reminded of what the Bible says about kings and stuff. That when you are a king or when you're in politics, God says that He anoints and chooses politicians or kings or rulers, right? And we must respect those people and love them because they're chosen by God. But those people don't come and say to us, I am king. You see through their actions that they are kings. A king or a politician or a president or a minister is my servant. That's why we call them civil servants. They are my servant. Think about a servant. Say you own a palace and you've got a servant. Your servant will run around for you. Make sure that your life is taken care of. Anything and everything that you need. That's a servant. Let's say a servant. So until they are bleeding, until the king is out, right? That's what a servant does. They won't sleep at night, making sure that's what a servant does. Until we go back to those basics of politics and why people should be in politics, it will be hard for us to get it right. You need to get into politics understanding as strongly as I do with journalism and as passionately and as purposefully to be in politics. You need to get into that space with that mindset. And once you're there and you're like that, every day you'll be working to serve the people. You understand that you're a servant. You understand that you don't need the best car. When your people that you're leading, your kings, don't have the best cars. You don't need the best suit when your king doesn't have the best suit. How would you have a nicer suit than your king? But it doesn't work, right? That's in is like balance me quickly. It doesn't work, right? So we need people to get into politics for the right reasons. And once we have that, then we start progressing better. I always say I feel like we need a cleansing in Africa. All the people, we thank them. Thank you for liberation, for the revelation. Thank you for fighting for us. Thank you for making sure that I can sit here as a black woman and have a voice and be able to speak. But your role in your time is done. You did what you were meant to do. Now we need economic emancipation. We're moving forward. So now we need new liberators who are economic liberators. That's the kind of leaders that we need now, who are going to take us to the next stage. So we need people like that, and we need to fight for people like that. I wish that a vote in Africa meant what it actually represents, or what it's meant to represent, that a vote counted. I wish that when there's elections in this country, we have heated conversations and we have town halls and all those things like this, where we can have such honest conversations that can help us decide on who is supposed to be our leader and who is not supposed to be our leader. The role of journalism for me speaks to the beginning of the political race, for example. We need to have this kind of conversations and these kinds of debates that should be planned by the media so that people can come and engage with these people, can understand what the person's ideologies are. I promise you, if I ask you now what the president's agenda is, many of us don't know. What does he believe in? Is he a communist or not? Do we know? We don't know. We don't know where he stands on many things. We don't know. It shouldn't happen. We should know exactly, so that when I put my X, I know this person's values and my values are the same. I hope I answer your question.
Wow. Yeah. Can we have the mic? This gentleman here with the glasses.
Salubona nonke.
Yebo.
Themba ngiyajabula ukuba lapha, and learning 1 or 2 points from
Ancillar.
Ancillar. Mina igama lami Dr. Kalisi maziwa inkosi Bhebhe. Yeah, we share the same surname. The reason I decided to stand, I want to pose 2 questions to you. Yes, I understand when I came here, you said a few points about identifying your purpose in life. I'm a medical doctor, and I always wanted to be a doctor. I think it's my childhood, from grade 7, Form 1 and everything. So everything that I did in my high school and even in my secondary school, Founders High School, I'm coming from Blawayo, and I did everything to make sure that I achieved that goal. Right? And when I finished my secondary school in Founders High School, because I wanted to be a doctor, I finished my O-level during 2008, if you remember well. And those were very difficult times. Okay. A very difficult time as a nation in Zimbabwe, because teachers at that time, they disappeared. They went to what they called a chronic industrial action. They were not showing up at school. But because I knew that I wanted to be a medical doctor, I went to Shabani, the Dara school, because staffing levels there were better. The point that I'm trying to raise here, what you're saying is very important. Us as young people in Blawayo, we have to identify our purpose, and we have to do everything within our powers to make sure that whatever our heart desires must be achieved.
Your question?
My question then, right now I'm the Secretary General of Zimbabwe Hospital Doctors Association, and basically we are interested in changing the healthcare system of Zimbabwe. And I'm working in Bilo Central Hospital right now. And it has been my desire that people of Blawayo are uplifted. And as a doctor, I could have chosen to stay in Harare because I love the people of Blawayo. I want Blawayo to set a new narrative about Blawayo. And I'm trying all my best. I've been trying a number of projects to also, encourage young people in Blawayo. So I understand you're one of the top journalists. You have made it very well. And in my interaction with journalists in Zimbabwe, I've noticed that there is better journalism in Harare if you compare to Blawayo. I've had a really hard time to really get in touch with journalists in Blawayo. And you are someone from Blawayo. You are now writing with Forbes. My question is, what have you done to also uplift journalism in Blawayo? Because the journalism in Blawayo is very sad. I will tell you that I only know about 5 or 6 people that usually write stories in Blawayo. But if I go to Harare, I get a lot of journalists. They call me all the time to have interviews with me, to know all those fancy things. But the moment I ask that, do you guys have people in Blawayo? Because you find someone who calls you and says, can we have an interview at 2 o'clock? Then I'll tell them, no, I'm in Blawayo. Then they will say, no, we're based in Harare. Don't you have someone that you can send on your behalf? You say, so the journalism in Zimbabwe is bad. But if you look at Blawayo, it's even worse. So what are you doing as one of the top journalists who is coming from, you said from?
Zila's High.
Yes, from Zila's High. In trying to help these young people, especially from NAS, to create a new narrative of Blawayo. Because telling stories is very important, to be honest. Okay, thank you.
All right. So, indeed, telling stories is very important. So, earlier during this conversation, remember how I spoke about how I don't plan, I stay ready. So, what I'm saying is that I'm ready. So, I have not actively done something as yet, because I also just, have you ever heard your parents say, before you start educating and helping everyone in your family, make sure that you're stable enough to be able to support everyone else. So I understood that. I've always wanted to come and do stuff in Blawayo, especially in Zila's High. I've always wanted to. But I understood the value of me making sure that I built an enough and a good enough brand and understanding and mastering of the craft before I can stand confidently and tell people I'm going to teach them how to write and how to be reporters, right? So I'm 28. I just graduated 2015, and I was about a year at a community newspaper and then only going to a bigger platform. So I've been learning and bettering my understanding and my skills so that I can be able to come and help people at home. And thank you, Gilmore, for giving me the opportunity to actually come here and be able to have this kind of conversations. So certainly I should be doing something, and everyone in the room, if you've got ideas, let me know. I am ready to engage and to help and to make sure that we grow.
Well, sadly, our time is running out. I'll take your question as the last one.
Hi. My name is Heather.
Can you put it up? Yeah.
Hi. My name is Heather Ndlovu-Bhebhe. I'm a writer as well on business, entrepreneurship, startups, and tech. That's the stuff I like. So my question to you is about the power and the ability to create. So how do you protect that as a writer? Because sometimes there are deadlines, and sometimes there's an agenda. Sometimes there's a wave that you have to write before it passes over, but you're not ready to release your art. Yeah. But people just want something with your name on it.
Publish.
Give it to us. It's fine, but you're like, no, it's not yet ready. So how do you protect that space? On the other hand, you want to make money. Yeah. But you want to protect your art because you want it to be the best.
Yeah. So many things. So when I first started, I had that, right? Like people would want to. I think I'm the worst news for an editor in a newsroom when I start. I over-research. I spend days before I even do interviews or write. I research a lot as if I'm going to write a whole thesis on the subject, and then research again on the people I'm going to talk to, and then. So what I did was to make my editors and the people that I work with understand that that is my process, and this is how I work. Remember earlier I spoke about demanding things. So sometimes you have to demand things. So much that even when my editors give me work, they know I answer on the story. It's gonna be 3 weeks before it comes, because that's how I work. So it also helped because they saw that, they moved me to a space that allows me to have enough time. I was also blessed to work for a monthly publication, meaning naturally we've got more time to do stuff. Because at the end of the day, that's your byline. You have to stand by those words and the things that you say. And working hard, my friends always ask, what time do you sleep? What time do you sleep? Sometimes, I'll give you an example. When the coup was happening in Harare, I quickly went there, but it was very close to our print deadline, and we had to have that story in that print deadline. I remember driving back all the way to Joburg. The moment I arrived, I started writing. I didn't even go home to go shower or eat or sleep. I wrote for 2 days without showering or sleeping or eating or anything. I'll literally go in, take coffee, sit, write, nap, sitting for like 30 minutes just to rest my eyes and write again. Because these things pass, right? But if you have a really, really good story, then it's all gonna be worth it. So put in more time. If in anything that you're doing, you work, and then when you get home, you're doing everything else and watching TV, you're still playing games. You're not gonna rise or become great or finally get to a point where you're able to dictate within the newsroom. You know, it's so nice to be so good that people will let you do what you want to do at a pace you want to do it, because they really want what you're going to produce, and they know what you're going to be produced will be that good. So trust the process that you're in, but put in work, grind hard, guys. You grind hard, and in that grind hard, people are watching. They'll see that you do it and how you're doing it, and they'll respect that. They'll get other people to do the chop stuff, and then you'll start getting all those meaningful things that you really want to do, that make a difference, things that will change your life forever.
So as we wrap up, Ancillar, I'd like to know about your personal life. You mentioned a husband, and I can see you're wearing a ring. How do you balance it all? I always ask this of the powerful, independent women that I come across, because it speaks to the next generation that often thinks that for you to be independent, you have to maybe separate your lives. How do you bring it all together?
I don't think it's true. I know it's not true that you have to separate. I see myself as having it all. So it is possible. So in terms of a relationship or a marriage type of situation, if you marry right, it'll never be a problem or an issue. If you marry right. If you're with a partner who tries to quiet you down and say you're doing too much, get out, because that person is not for you. A person that you're supposed to be with, that God made for you. People get married for the wrong reasons. I also went through a journey of finding a husband when I was trying to date to see who I'm supposed to be with. I always tell my friends this, but I now bless you. I went through a journey and God literally told me, this is your husband. That's how I know that the man I'm married with is my husband, that God made for me. And because he's truly my husband, the man that God made for me, he leads in such a way that everything that he's thinking is trying to do in our home are the things that I want to do, and even better. He's the one who wakes me up and say, hey, wake up, it's 4, wake up, you need to work. He sends an Uber with dinner to the office when I'm working and it's 12:01 a.m. and he's at home alone. So you need to be in the right kind of relationship with somebody who will support you and support your dreams, who wants to move with you. Also, sometimes it happens, especially I'll speak to the women. For the sake of chatting, dreams are like wake up, walk, you know. So I live the dialogue. Long dreams are I will be there. Oh, it's 7 then, let's work, let's do stuff, right? So if you also with the daughter that knows what's here, look, we're trying to do this, let's push. Then like, if I bear on yeah, so all the time I say, all right, it dates, all right. So much that at my house we've got date nights on Thursdays, so we try to make time because we know, okay, Thursday is reserved for date night because we don't see each other too often. Maybe I can figure, but we know that at the end of the day, ultimately, we're trying to create wealth and we're moving to a certain stage in our life, so that's very important. So it makes work-life balance for me very flexible. And when you know that, people say, oh, what about kids, whatever. So we speak about that, like, okay, we know we're not going to be able to do that in kids. He might want kids, but let's wait. Maybe at about 35, we'll figure it out. We know to have cushioned enough that we can be able to be present parents when we start building that. So be with the right people, your friends. I spoke about protecting your energy. Be with friends that will support you, that will lift you up, that will help you. I can't do everything. And then they'll chip in. So have those kind of people around you to be able to balance everything. We're not super women. We need all those kind of people around us who are going to give us positive words of affirmation, etc., so that we're able to thrive. But most importantly, marry well. Once you marry well, you're sorted. Marry well. Don't just get married for the sake of getting married. Marry well, and your work-life balance will be perfect. I'm sure even if we had kids, we'll turn 10s, you will bat the kids, you'll take the kids to bed if we need to because I'm working. I travel a lot. I can be in Joburg for 1 week and then 2 weeks I'm somewhere else and then, up and down. But he said, oh, when are you going next? Okay, so what are we going to do? You plan things properly if you marry right.
Wow. So I know you said you don't want to talk about 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
It's too premature. But can you tell us where to from now, Ancillar?
Mm-hmm.
A year from now, what are your plans? Where do you see yourself? What's your vision for your life?
Okay. So I don't plan. I don't plan like that. But I know the ultimate end. So I don't know the process. So for example, when because I'm a journalist. Maybe I want to one day own a media company, for example. The next step, when people plan and write their goals, okay, I'll make sub-editor, and then I'll make deputy editor, then make editor. When you over-plan, step by step, that for me, you've become blind to every other opportunity that presents itself to you, because now you're concentrating on sub-editor. So guys, also because your thing is sub-editor, that's my next step. So I don't plan in ladders like that. I just know where my ultimate end is. So my ultimate end is my purpose. This is my reason for being. By the way, my name Ancillar means an aid to achieving. And that's what I exude. it's weird how my being and my state of mind and soul and everything is actually about being an aid to achieving. So my ultimate purpose or goal in life is to live in my true purpose, so that I can be able to do that. Be an aid to achieving. I want to help everyone achieve whatever they want to be. As many people as I can get to. That's why I've got a PR company, because I understand media. I'm in the media space. A lot of young people complain about, we can't get exposure. Without exposure, a company doesn't grow because people don't know about it, etc. That's why I started the PR company, to be an aid to achieving, using my craft that I know. So I was able, I hated PR, and I was going to be blind to that ultimate goal if I just stuck with, I hated PR. My journey is just the journalism space. So I'm going to be an aid to help people create wealth. I think I've said this so many times. Being wealthy is nice. I've seen people who are wealthy. I want that life. And I want more of us black people to have an opportunity to be wealthy. So I want to make sure that by the time I die, I've created or helped people get to as close as they can to wealth. I want to tell stories that change lives. I want to be a positive impact in people's lives. How I'll do it, I don't know, but I'm ready for it. Whatever it is, when it comes, I'll know when it comes. I'll know when it arrives, and I'll do it, and I'll slay at doing it, and then we'll move on. So that's just my goals and my dreams. That's just how I work. There's a song that you guys should listen to or sing. So every morning when I get into my car, it's a ritual. I play the song when I'm going home. I play it. It's by Beyonce. If you guys know it, you should help me out. Say, I was here, I lived, I loved, I was here. Let's see. I want to leave my footprints on the sands of time. I want to leave this world a better place. I think about it so much, because it's not like because I sound so composed, there's no distractions and I don't get anxiety and all of these things. I do, but then when that happens, I say, Wonder Woman, after Wonder Woman, I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, I want to die a happy death and say, I was here, I lived, I loved, I did everything I wanted to do. And I know that I left this world a better place. That's my ultimate goal. It's things like what the good doctor was saying. Maybe, when I go and speak and spend time with myself, I'll see that it's time, and it's the kind of thing that I do. As long as it leads us there. I don't know. Maybe, I can't say I'll one day be in politics or I'll do this. I don't know. I'm just ready.
How can people get a hold of you?
So, on Instagram, it's at Ancillar, Ancillar Nombewu, Nombewu. It's the same on Twitter and same on Facebook. So that's where you can go.
Thank you so much, Ancillar. It's been a pleasure talking to you and hearing your so many stories, and I hope it was the same for everyone. May we give a pump up. And I'm hoping you're still here for the next 30 or so minutes to interact, and I'm sure people want to ask you more questions.
Thank you so much. You guys were amazing. Thank you so very much. I see some guys, that guy saying last night, he was amazing.
Which one? May we see him? Oh, Asaph.
Yeah, he performed last night.
The vibe is correct.
The vibe is correct. Yeah, the vibe is correct. It was amazing. You guys must support him. This is a hidden talent in this country. When you can hear such greatness immediately with bad sound and bad everything, and you can the sound was bad, but you can distinctly hear the talent and you can feel his energy, and it's up to us to uplift our own people. I see again they're not cast by and all of those kind of things. When we as Abantu Beblawayo, sorry, I didn't plan on doing this, but as we as Abantu Beblawayo, the moment we start taking ourselves seriously and saying to people, I am great, we are great, the world will never see us. Every day, it's up to us to take that ownership, to make sure that our industries rise, to make sure that we support our own people. When people see a group of people supporting one person or supporting something, they'll all fall in line. I promise you. It takes 5 people to support, and everyone else will fall in line and follow suit. So I hope people will support you as much as I will.
Thank you.
Amen. With that, Hero, I hand it over to you.
Thank you very much. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you, Lucy. Give a round of applause, Lucy. Ancillar, thank you so much for coming here and agreeing to doing this, although you're very sick with the cold. But I'd like to thank also the Nast American Space for giving us this space and space. Anyway, American Space for giving us this space to doing this activity. Thank you so much, Busi, Norma, Daniel, and team. They've been very supportive in terms of paper-based activities, and we're very grateful for that. We'd also like to thank the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority. Earlier, Ancillar probably went for a getaway somewhere in Mantobo. Caterers of the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority, they came on board and they said, you know what? We want these 2 ladies to go out there and spend some time with animals. So they did that, and so we'd like to thank them. I don't know if there's a representative, but thank you nonetheless. We'd also like to thank each and every one of you who came through, because without you guys coming here, she was not going to have this conversation and also share her story. So please give yourselves a round of applause. Our partner Charles and Ancillar, if you see all these fancy posters that we post, this guy and his team, they're the ones that do that, and the picture. So we'd like to thank them for constantly supporting us and the initiative. So we hope to see you next month, end of July, with